Hi, it's CJ Miller. I'm making a little video because I haven't been down here in a while uh, during the light hours. I'm more of a nocturnal kind of person, but this is the Asian Gardens of Shreveport. And so my building is right there. That's the building I live in. So it's really, really close to where I live when I take little walks. And of course, this is the First United Methodist Church, kind of a hallmark at the end of our Texas Street, which is basically our main street uh, in town. And I do attend services there sometimes. Uh, I'm not a devout attendee, but you know, I'm not even specifically Methodist, but I do like the church. Anyway, but aside from that, uh, uh, these Asian gardens. So this is the founders, and I think they wanted to. They set it up because they wanted to kind of like celebrate, Asian culture. They wanted some representation of Asian culture that's in the area. So I think these things are just really, not even knowing that much about it. They do have Asian festivals and things that take place here, but it's like the intricacy of these carvings and the displays. This is like a walk around living museum, and but I mean it's like a little bridge over a brook, and I guess it's like little fountains or things. I don't know, uh, and I don't know is a good place to start because that means that uh, there's much to learn. Uh, but I love these. There's a lot to see here. So this video is going to take a minute. If you don't want to watch it, that's cool too. But I wanted to do something for my YouTube channel because I did a lot of this. When I was doing more Facebook. But I love these. I don't even know what those trees are called. But actually, we have them all over the area. So let's see with this plaque. So a lot of people will come down here and check it out and then not even kind of look at the plaques. But yeah. Jardin des Isabelle. I don't know. Is that? See, I would think of that as not an Asian name. So let's see. Jardin means garden, and Jardin de Isabelle means garden dedicated to God. And so this is it's a Philippine custom. So I just learned something. So that's the beauty of things like this, kind of exploring. And I must have looked at that thing a zillion times and maybe just kind of like passed by the plaque, And yeah, so it's kind of cool. In the pottery and things like that, but. So, and I feel like, I feel like American culture it's still a lot of cultures from derivative homelands living right next to each other, and nowadays more in peace than in years past. But I hope we become more and more of a peaceful nation between our different cultures. And I think, without getting all political, I think, there's a lot more that needs to be done in ways of equity. And that can happen by, I don't know, not being afraid to branch out of one's circle. I do a lot of, 12-step kind of work too. And what we do in a meeting and everything like that, we do have our little people, our little groups, our little cliques that like to sit together. When we do conventions and dinners and things like that, we really do try to encourage people to mix it up a little bit. Sometimes don't sit right next to the same people, but move around, mix up a little bit, get to know people. And I think that would go a long way in helping people in uh, our different neighborhoods and things in America that we want to. So this is let's see, flowers in this bed donated by Corinth Galleries in honor of Joe Corinth. Now I don't know who that is, but I do love the display. There's all sorts of, what's great about this is there's all sorts of like nifty little things in the nooks and kind of the far back. Now this is a series of buildings that some of the space is not used, and then some of it actually is used. I know that I think there's a dentist office over there. There is some work with the Volunteers of America that takes place over there. It's actually it's a day program. As a matter of fact, I've stopped in there once or twice. And not that I haven't benefited from the services of Volunteers of America, because I certainly have. So, but what else is over there? There's a little place called the Mini Cinema, or Mini Cine to those of us who are local, and they specialize in short film. Sometimes they'll have local bands come in and play and everything like that, and they operate really entirely on donation. When they have an event, they'll put a jar out, and if you just kind of donate what you can donate, and when we do more and more art walks, which we do fewer of them now, but we used to do one every month. But, business has been slowed down. But we're lucky to be having them at all. But, yeah, when we do have art walks, they normally have something going on there. So these displays are really awesome. And, I would love to dig into this. Who doesn't love stuff like this? Now, I would never encourage appropriation of another culture. These things were established and they were put up and maintained, and the festival, it does celebrate various, Asian cultures. You know, not that. Not that all of Asian culture has always been simpatico. I mean, there have been Asian nations at war with Asian nations, and likewise, there are, so there's, it's what that does. That exemplifies to me that if we didn't have race, and if we didn't have gender issues, and if we didn't have religious differences or political differences, there would always be some sort of way for things to get mixed up, for people to mix people up and pit them against each other, because there's probably benefit for the higher up. When the world is too populated, it's a good way to thin things out, have some wars. I'm not saying that's a big motivation, but surely it can happen that way. People love to come down here and just explore. I always say I don't want to get too political. Every once in a while I can't help it. But really it's for the sake of peace. What I'm saying is, if we get caught into the trappings of what we're supposed to, sometimes people tell us we're supposed to you know, be this or be that or act this way or follow this great big normal because it happens to be a majority. Uh, that's not necessarily, you know, that's not the majority is not necessarily the majority because of a natural process. uh, you know, uh, God, these are beautiful. But yeah, so even so, no matter what, they're gonna find some. They're gonna find some sort of way to create, friction. And when I say they, I mean I don't mean to sound like a conspiracy theorist. I mean that's as a in general. Somebody somewhere will always find a way to stir the pot. They will find a way for a difference. I don't know. I also think if it wasn't for financial gain, uh, it'd be some sort of idealistic need to thrive behind it. Because I don't think that people are inherently evil. I think people have a misguided idea of, overblown survival instincts, and sometimes that makes people go a little crazy. You know what, Dave? I'm going to walk back up here, and I'm going to walk down the strip here, and I'll show you a little bit about some of this building. Actually, no. If you've ever heard of KWKH back in the day, it's a sports radio station, but back in the day it used to be a classic country radio. Growing up, I didn't appreciate it because my dad listened to a lot of that, and the whole family did. And I was like, I'm a little kid, I love rock and roll, and I grew up and I loved, power ballads and hair metal, and I still want to be a rock star, but that's not where my talent leads. But KWKH had a radio program that at one time rivaled the Grand Ole Opry radio broadcast, which they still had that, and you will see that on weekend nights. Sometimes they still do shows out of Nashville on CBS. I see those. Modern country shows and concerts. It's a lot less Grand Ole Opry and a lot less hee-haw, But but KWKH had the Louisiana Hayride, which you can read about in the biography of Linda Ronstadt. Her biography is called Simple Dreams. I bought that book almost as soon as it came out. But one of her major influences, one of her earliest influences, and this is all the way in Phoenix, Arizona, this is the Louisiana Hayride. And so there are rock concerts that happen here. I went to see Kenny Wayne Shepherd there not too long ago, but I've seen Alice Cooper there. Who else? Survivor was at the Strand. So, but yeah, I love music. So. But anyway, I want to walk over and I want to talk about this building, because I think what they're doing, particularly with the mini cine, is really great. I think one of the things that we do in this society is we delegate too much of our arts to, especially the performing arts, to professional people. And I feel like, I think the world would be a much more joyful world if more people painted, if more people wrote songs and sang songs and played music, and if more people put on plays. Growing up as a little kid, my sister and I, and we would just put on shows for the adults. We'd go in the room and we'd put some shit together, some sort of whatever, and some skit. Sometimes there'd be sing-song involved or dance or something. And then we'd come out and we'd perform, and everybody would know their lines. It was like instinctive. Like, kids are natural at play acting anyway, so that's kind of cool. Okay, so this mural has been here. And It started out as some graffiti art, and I think it's actually been commissioned, or, you know, yeah, so this is kind of great. So this is kind of cool. We have a lot of these little murals downtown that are being worked on, and you know, um, that's really good work. So I don't know if it's stenciled and then spray painted over a stencil. I don't know how that works. You know, hey there. Well, so that was the mini cine. I just passed by. There was somebody like standing out front. I didn't want to talk about it or anything like that, but uh, it seemed like kind of foolish. But it's kind of cool. They maybe there's someone. I don't know. The door was open. I could have stuck my head in, but I've been walking around. I'm a little sweaty. I'll go over there another time. Okay, so this little area here, there again, there's my building, and then here is my, I live in one of the tallest buildings in downtown Shreveport, you know, and I feel, whatever, I feel like the building's an old building. I hope that one day it gets the update that it so sadly needs. We are having other housing built around here, more affordable housing, but that's such a beautiful building. I hope one day it gets the upgrade. That will be cool. So this little thing in front of it, that little fire thing gets lit up. That's the actual council on the Arts Council, the Shreveport Regional Arts Council. These trees they just put in here, and they do light up. Actually, if I get close enough, you can see they're already lit, and they will really shine when the sun goes down. These things are really luminant in the dark. Now, this was all concrete a couple of years ago, all of this, and then they came through and laid out a lot of grass, and then laid out this walking path. And so for a couple of years, it was a walking path, and I would come over, and it was really great because at one time I was told that I had become diabetic. And so when I wanted to go on a quest, a health quest, I would come over in the middle of the night and I would walk around. I would count walk around this thing and count like 20 laps, and I didn't run or anything like that. It was just I walked, sometimes briskly. Those trees are awesome. I don't live on this side of the building, so I don't have that view, but I do have some lovely lights that I look at night outside of my windows, because my windows are on like one side of the apartment. Okay, so, but yeah, I may as well make the trek. Why am I doing this video? Because I haven't done this walkabout in the daytime in a long time. I've done it at night, and I can't remember if I posted a video for YouTube. I'll look on YouTube, and if I have posted a video that is almost identical to this walk, then what I'll probably do is not post this. But okay, so this is what grabs me. I can still make the walk. Actually, it's extended my walk because this path used to go down here. But then what happened was they started working on this. Now this is going to be a stage. And I see they're going to put in some restrooms and things like that too. So this will be able to be used as a small venue area. So there'll be tables to sit at over there and everything. It was initially sold or told to us as a city that it was going to be basically a grassy area that was going to be able to be enjoyed by all. I'm happy to say that they have found ways that they can do so much more with it. which I was enjoying the grass. But as the sooner they finish this, the better, because I want to see some acts and shows and some venues. I can't quite get down there close enough to look. I think if I go, this is the property that I'm about to walk on to get to the alley is next to the Providence House, which is it's a local charity that helps women and families with their various needs, whatever needs that they can meet with them. But yeah, I am excited to see. So I gather maybe this is going to be the back of it, and that's going to be the front of it. You know what? Nah, I'm not going to trespass. I really want to. There's that part of me that feels like some of the rules don't apply to me, but they do. What I will do though is I will take a short walk just across the street, because that is going to be the parking lot of the Municipal Auditorium. In my little historic tour that I decided to turn this into, basically because I feel good and I need the exercise right now. Long story short on that, the exercise worked. My type 2 diabetes has been in remission about 1.5 years now. So anyway, because it was like, you know what, if this is just a matter of me losing 15 pounds, it's going to make the difference between me being diabetic or not. I'll just lose the 15 pounds. But I didn't just lose the 15 pounds. I actually started some weight resistance training also. And so as I've lost weight, I've actually gained some muscle mass too. So I've actually lost more than 15 pounds in body fat, but I have gained some body weight in muscle, if that makes sense. Okay, so this is the parking lot and the side of the Municipal Auditorium. This is very historic. The Louisiana Hayride. There was wrestling that took place here in the 70s and 80s. Television wrestling, which was a lot bigger in the 80s. We only had like a few networks. We didn't have like a zillion channels. So it was big. It was big. And they would not just have wrestling, in Atlanta or wherever that they had them, but they would tour. And the shows would take place, and sometimes they filmed here. And and people would get riled up at it. I know that a lot of it's performance and you take on characters and everything, but the wrestling, the stunts that they do and the training that they do, a lot of that's real, So, but there was a big, but not the, not the actual. It's scripted, obviously, but they do actually flip over and perform those stunts from the top of the rings and do belly flops on top of each other and all this kind of good stuff. They do that without wires. They do smash chairs and break tables. They look a lot more destructive than what they are, but the kids, they really loved it and stuff. So but it was a more innocent time too. Just today I was watching on the news about a senior citizen, I guess in his 70s or whatever. He was somewhat of an attendee of a church, and for some reason he went in and shot up the church, 2 or 3 people in the church, and then they kind of got him. It was an Episcopal church, I think. I don't know much more about that, but it's like, it's really, has the gun violence really gotten to the point that now we have senior citizens? So this plaque says, I I can read it from here, but it says 1929. Wow, Municipal Memorial Auditorium. So it's officially the Municipal Memorial Auditorium, 1929. That's awesome. And there are all sorts of etchings. I do know that some of the etchings up there, the pineapple is a symbol of friendship. So we have that all over downtown. I don't know what wheat is, but I see a lot of wheat in a lot of these old buildings. You know, a lot of the Masonic symbolism and stuff. Let's see who this cat is. Oh, this is James Burton. He was he backed Elvis Presley. You know, so it's the statue of James Burton. And of course, you know, Elvis played here a lot. Elvis really came into his own at the Louisiana Hayride. This is the radio program that promoted him. It was a lot more liberal in its programming than the Grand Ole Opry. Hank Williams played here a lot. As a matter of fact, Hank Williams Jr. was born in Shreveport. Like I said, I was never really a country fan as a kid. I've grown to appreciate, due to the local connection, some country music. So this is, I was going to say right across the street. There used to be a James Burton Rock and Roll Cafe on Commerce Street. And this is, and I don't think it's still open, but this is, Kids and Vets need you to donate. I don't know, whatever. But it was the James Burton Rock and Roll Foundation. I need to know more about this local stuff, especially since, you know, I love music. So yeah, if I can't be a musician, then I can certainly be a consumer and a supporter and advocator. And I want the arts to continue to thrive and evolve and change. And you know, I love these little microphones on the side. Now, if I go down this path here, this sidewalk, just where it turns, I'm going to enter right back into the Asian Gardens. And I'll show you that in just a second. But right now what I want to do is cross the street. This is going to maybe trip some people if they see this. This actually is also considered a park. I guess it's a film location that they filmed part of the movie Mr. Brooks. That was that movie with Kevin Costner as a serial killer with a multiple dual personality and a fan club and hereditary issues, and he was trying to arrest all that by attending 12 steps. You watch the movie to find out how that worked out. What I love about that movie, not Kevin Costner, he was alright, but Oakland Cemetery, the brief history. What I liked about that movie is that Shreveport, many sites in Shreveport are featured all the way through that, so it's kind of cool. So some time ago, maybe 13 to 15 years ago, I don't know, there was sort of a movie boom here in Shreveport. A lot of movies got made locally. Well, you know, if there was a big hurricane down in New Orleans and they weren't filming all that, they couldn't do too much work down there. They really couldn't, because, you know, they couldn't, because nobody was there. And then, so they moved a lot of those operations up here. And so for a few years we had some of that benefit. And actually the Millennium Studios is still there, and their Stageworks is still there too. It used to be a exposition center or something, and they turned it into a studio specifically for one of Kevin Costner's movies. And then Not Mr. Brooks, but another one that he did with Ashton Kutcher, the one I haven't seen. I can't say his name. Anyway, Ashton Kutcher, I don't know. But anyway, so this is a very historic cemetery. It's one of the oldest. It's actually the oldest here in town, but it's actually one of the oldest in the developed South. Here because the city was founded because of the log jam. There was a Red River log jam. But okay, so there is a mass grave. Sounds morbid. There was an outbreak of yellow fever in Shreveport's history, and they just, as people were just dying, and it was, I guess, yellow fever, very contagious, and they put them in mass graves. And so there is a site somewhere back up in here, I forget exactly where, that there's a big mass grave of people buried, and a monument with yellow fever. I don't know. I do like walking around at night. I do like cemeteries, but I don't necessarily like cemeteries at night. But yeah, I know they're doing some development. Oh wow, I could stand from here. I can look through there and see my building that I live in. I think I need to go home. I guess it's the back of the cemetery. But so I'm just over 30 minutes on this video. So I'm gonna go ahead and say, or start my sign off. If you've seen my videos that I do, I don't always sign off gracefully, but I will at least keep you going until I get out of the cemetery. Okay, so this, oh wait, no. We're not done yet. So this is Milam. Okay, this street here is Hope Street. I got a low battery. My battery's coming down low. As I exit and I cross the street, this is Hope Street. Let me tell you some history. These mansions are great. But, like any other bad neighborhood, you do not want to go there without a guide. Let me be your guide. Okay, this building here, I'm going to show you, that big pink house. Well, we'll talk about that in a second, but first I want to talk about the house that's across the street. Every town has some lore, some legend behind it. I don't know the story, but I know that they sometimes do events here, and it is notorious for being one of the most haunted houses in Shreveport. And look how it's all lit up. And they've been doing some remodeling and everything, so it's awesome. The Logan Mansion. It's like, whoa. And it's a beautiful home. And I think they're gonna do like a themed something. I even think they occasionally do the pretend speakeasies where they like have little parties and stuff like that. But and then across the street here, the Logan Mansion. Let's see if I can get over here. Now this is a building that I'm very familiar with. I've been in several times as a young man. It used to be a supper club called the Florentine, and then later on it became the Florentine, and it catered primarily to, rather intentionally or not, it became like a safe haven for gay culture. in the 60s, 70s, and 80s in Shreveport, when it was still very much illegal uh, to be gay, much less have gay sex, you know. So very much grateful for this building. God, it had such beauty and such opulence, and right now it's being taken over and owned by some people. I don't know much about it. I know that when they initially went into their history, they kind of glossed over, to my consternation, the very importance of this particular house to gay culture. It is very important. In the earlier days of HIV, back here, all of that was established. Not just the houses that have gone up back there, but way in the back there were some other houses, like the whole property. It was homes for people who had HIV, so they could have residence. You know, because back in the day it was like gay and HIV, and so you really got shunned by your families or whatever. So it became the Mercy Center, and fitting that it should be right next to what was that historical what do we call it, the Florentine. God, it was beautiful on the inside too, very decked out, dripping with opulence. Okay, so I was going to take you back around, but I think that's about it. So, and there's a couple of these homes are really fine, and so I hope they do some things with them. A lot of them are just standing. And they're not really being used, But I've kind of gotten away from my little nook, my little neighborhood. Right across the street, of course. Watch how easy it is. I can just cut through here. This is Texas Avenue, and it merges with Common Street, and just kind of forks over and connects to Texas Street right in front of the church there. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of walk through here. This little blue house is being used for the it's a community renewal project that's been given to 40 U.S. citizens, 40 U.S. cities, called Choice Neighborhood. So that's one of the reasons why we have some of the renewal going on, because of that Choice Neighborhood initiative. I like what they're doing. I don't necessarily know that it's enough. Right now this is the second one. I don't know. I feel like maybe 300 residences approximately is what they're looking at by the time it's completed. Right now they've completed about 67, and it should be opening soon. But yeah, I think that affordable housing, there's a shortage of it in most cities. I don't mean to shrug it off, and I'm glad that there are some initiatives going on, but there's just really not enough. There again, not being political, I'm just saying that is a crisis. Albeit, I'm going to tell you, if I'm a poor person and I'm living below the poverty level, and I am really glad that I'm going to be an impoverished person living in the United States versus, say, an impoverished person living in a South American country where, I don't know. But the biggest threat to a person is abandonment. Like if a person lives alone, if you know someone and they're single and they live alone, especially when it gets a little harder for them to get around, check on your friends and neighbors, especially in the heat of the summer. Check on them, make sure that that they do okay, that they have what they need. Uh, you know, it's those little touches that can make a difference. You know. Oh, this is the second location of the St. Mark's Episcopal Church. The first one is across town. I used to work at it. It's a cathedral. I worked there for probably, well, a good season, a good year and over a summer. And then I think I was okay. I think what happened was that I was working in the kitchen with the Ladies Guild. So I was maintaining the kitchen. And then I was asked would I want to expand my, you know, expand my duties, because one of the ladies working on the third floor, because it was a church, but it was a huge Gothic building. It's back over on my side of town. I'm just going to head back home as I tell this story. But big, huge, massive building, Gothic designs and everything. But so she left, and so I had to do the kitchen, and then I did the entire third floor. And this was a very building that had great expanse. It was wide, and all the stairwells and all the carpets, and so like the staff that was tending to the other floors would tend to the office, and I would tend to the hallways and all of the rooms on the third floor, plus the parish hall, plus some duties in the chapel, but primarily the kitchen. And I had to do this within a few hours. The reason being is I also had a job working in the neighborhood at I guess it was like a health food / bakery. It was called Ethereal Living Foods. So, and then I would go next door and I would work at the dry cleaners that was there. It's not there anymore. And then I would walk up the street and I would work at the cathedral, doing all those duties for the cathedral church and the cathedral school, which functioned basically as two separate entities. I was kind of on loan to the church. Oh, and the gymnasium. I also had the gymnasium. So I never got everything done. But at one point I had all those jobs, and I just, over the course of a year and a half, burned myself out. I really did. And yeah. So my lesson on that for people, you know, who like to really, really go after it, remember to protect against burnout. Okay, so I'm coming back to my building, so I'm going to sign off now, walk into my building. After I tell you, this is the B'nai Zon temple. It's a Jewish temple. I wish they would get in here and like polish this up and everything. It's beautiful. I don't know what they used it for, but I think it was like one of the lodge societies or something. And over here is the Scottish Rite. It was a Masonic temple, and I've been in there every once in a while. I get to go in there and take a look around. That organization pretty much will take anybody now who could pay it yearly fees or whatever. You know, as the guy was saying a couple of years ago, there really are no more mysteries about these things, so people really aren't catering to them. So now they just want people to come and do whatever they can do, and it helps wealthy business owners because it gives them a way to filter their charitable money for lost leaders, and for anyone who feels you know, they want to be a part of a society or want to belong or something. It's good for that kind of stuff too. So it's like multiple purposes. I really should have ended this video. I hate making videos of looking like I'm talking to myself schizophrenically. This is a very beautiful building though. I don't think I left the lights on in my apartment, so I'm not going to be able to show off the lights. But that's the Regional Arts Council, which actually used to be located under that bridge that's right behind me. there's like some train tracks, and so this is a better location for it. You almost couldn't find it. And then there was like the Regional Arts Council, and this is the Central Art Station is what it's called. But it used to share space with a gymnasium at the YMCA. Uh, you know. All right. I'm going inside. I'm going to lose signal anyway when I walk inside until I get up to my apartment. So I'll go ahead and say goodbye now after 45 minutes. Have a good night. Goodbye.